Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So, it's nearly 1 pm in our afternoon in our old England, my delicious little babies. There's a slight bit of sunshine, but not enough for me to sing it. A lot of very grey sky as well. It's like spot the blue. Okay, my delicious little babies, and that's the weather forecast now. Then I hope that wherever you are in the world, only it's rather chilly, and there's a little wind. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, that life is treating you most deliciously. Okay, and that you have got better weather than what I am experiencing, my delicious little babies. Now then, so right, that doesn't mean no, just got an itch. Now then, so let's go for the first one, shall we? So this is on YouTube, my delicious little babies. This uploader happens to have 7.23 thousand subscribers, and it is called, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, Capital UK space capital R rewound. Okay, my delicious baby. Sorry, excuse me, pardon me. Okay, so the uploader is called in capitals UK space capital R rewind. This video is just over 9 minutes long, my delicious babies, and it should read 20 shocking ways British parents used to discipline their kids. Well, I do not like the word parents, and I do not like the word kids. Okay, I'm not really so sure I like the word British actually, because there we are, before I even say it. So, because at the end of the day, it all means something very different to what there we are, to what one reads. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'll just repeat this again for you. 20 shocking ways British parents use to discipline their kids. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, what this is about is how, like, say if you're in a road or in the street or something like this now then, okay? So little bairns, I call them little bairns, okay? Others will call them children. You've got to look at the wren on the end, okay? But that's what I just prefer to call, okay? But then it could be me, there we are, my Yorkshire roots, okay? My delicious babies. But the fact of the matter is this, is that at the end of the day, there was a very different way of disciplining, okay? Completely different to what we're seeing in let's just say, I'd say the past couple of decades. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay, and of course it creeps up on you, you know. But the way that I see it is for most mummies, daddies, carers, aunties, uncles, in some cases nanas, granddads, because everybody has different um, set up in their lives, shall we say, okay? They have different ways of doing things, but if we go back years ago, this really did make me smile, my delicious little babies, okay? Because, of course, and it was the days, those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. If a little bairn, being one of these at the top 20, okay? Uh, if a little bairn had played up in the road or in the street, well, you would have other neighbours because everybody knew one another. So basically, that's the old-fashioned saying, "Mad little babies are kind." Another neighbour or another friend. Because everybody was very much. There would have been very few who never got along. You know what I mean? Okay, you get that anywhere you live. Okay, but never to the point where the nastiness what we've seen in decades with videos and things like this, nothing like that, okay? But usually the young bairn, it's only a figure of speech, it's just an old-fashioned saying, "Mad little babies." Well, they would get a bollocking even before they've even got home by somebody else, Do you see what I mean? I do not mean smacking. I mean, they would have been banged to rats, you know what I mean? So by the time the little bairn got home, then mummy and daddy would have already known. There we are. Okay, my little babies, but it's well worth a little listen. It will make you smile. So, especially for, somebody who's maybe older. I mean, say if you look at the younger generation and they was to listen to this, they'd be absolutely horrified. Absolutely horrified. You know what I mean? Oh, is this how it was? I mean, like, you used to get the slipper. Flip me. I used to get far more than the slipper, little babies. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. So, but absolutely banging correctly upload, and with anybody not in that way, not in that way. Where he said, these days they would call social services. Well, I would certainly say that social services is the last place anybody should go. Okay, my babies, so that's that one. I'll tick them all off shortly. The second one, Mads Little Babies, this uploader happens to have 2.84 million subscribers. Now I never needed to stumble there. Now I do advertise our lovely Natalie, bless her, and our lovely Clayton, not in that way. But I was listening, it was about just over 52 minutes yesterday evening, and this was to do with and that's on YouTube, Mad Little Babies, please and thank you, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, because like I said, I do advertise them sometimes. But what's very interesting is that it seems that things are not going very well for Trouble Trump. Now, it appears that there we are, more and more seem to be, what's the words that you use? Dissatisfied. There we are. Is that the word? Maybe? And at one point I was listening where they're actually having to call, others into the old oval stage, you know what I mean? Mad little babies, to try and get things under control. Well, there we are. Well, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all the things that are taking place, okay? Is very, there we are, extremely, very hard, there we are, to ignore, okay? So, for the ones who still, because you got to have faith, okay? I would say at this point, this is not, I would say that it's been put, there we are, in everybody's birth races, as if to say how much of this, there we are, can everybody take? Okay, Mads, little babies, there we are. I would certainly agree with that. But, come on. Nobody can tell myself, okay? Either he's over, there we are, either he's been put over, there we are, a barrel, okay? And this could be for past whatever, okay? But the fact of the matter is, if somebody's doing it blatantly in one's birth races, well, there is a very serious problem here, okay? And your man there now, who Clayton's talking to, bless, okay? Well, he calls everything, there we are, out, okay, my little babies. And it appears that this is where we're at, okay, my little babies. Now, what my issue is here, my little babies, is that imagine all of those millions, there we are, of Trouble Trump fans. Imagine, okay? I should imagine that there's rather a lot around now who are feeling, there we are, most disheartened. And of course, I mentioned the other day, didn't I, on one of my videos, where ones are actually burning, literally burning their MAGA hats. Make America great again. No. This is make America sick and poorly again, because let's not forget the first warp speed. And let's depopulate. So, and let's bring other businesses and things like this now, then there we are, into the country. I would say, there we are, as an outsider looking in, there we are, it very much looks that way. Okay, my delicious little babies. And I've never ever seen in the whole of my life where you have so many all in the oval stage. I mean, come on. I mean, this is, it's like, there we are, it's like watching a comedy, isn't it? Except for the thing is, it's not really comedy, is it, my delicious little babies? Because this is messing, there we are, with the population's lives. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, like I said, if he had stuck to just being a businessman, do you know what I mean? Wouldn't be no problem. But, it's amazing that where one's, when you carry these, there we are, these things out now, then, okay, where you can go from ones who love you to hating you, to despising. Now, some would say, I've heard this for decades, some would say, about little babies, that there's a very fine line between love and hate. Yes, in some cases, one would say that, okay? That's a decades older saying, okay? My little baby's saying, sorry. But I never needed to stumble here. But the fact of the matter is, the more and more that one pushes, is the more and more, there we are, that one's despised. And I see, there we are, going very quickly, there we are, that way, okay? Because this is not done for the good. And neither is that R.F. Kennedy, whatever his bloody well name is, okay? So he's not serving, the population either. And I get sick and tired of hearing. That's why I click off my delicious little babies, because I'm sick and tired of hearing this effing shout. The fact of the matter is, ones have got to understand that they've been shafted once. There we are. They're going to be shafted again. Okay, this is most serious, because this is real life. It's mankind, and this is a depopulation. There we are, program. Okay, my delicious little babies, programming. Do you understand what I mean? If you say it enough times, then ones in the old noddles are going to go, oh yeah, you know what I mean? It's a level of brainwashing. But this leads me to the next thing now, my delicious babies, but well worth listening to that video. Just over 52 minutes on Redacted on YouTube, my delicious little babies. They are on Rumble as well, my delicious little babies anyway. And I do believe they're on Twitter. That the call X, well, it'll always be Twitter to myself, you know what I mean, okay? She rocks in the treetop all day long, rocking and a bopping and a singing a song. All the little birds up in the tree go tweet, 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 rockin' robin. Yeah, lots of robin bees, ain't the marvelous little babies in the world, yeah. They don't only want to enslave you and rob everything off you now, okay? They want to rob your damn life as well, marvelous little babies. There we are. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes. Very interesting as well, I might like to add. Sorry, just while it's on my noddle. There was a painting that was behind Mr. Putin, when he was in that colossal room. My delicious little babies. Very interesting painting that was. Okay, my delicious little babies now then. Where else do I need to go? Yeah, so we got the final one today, my delicious little babies. Oh, sorry, I've just got to say something else. So I'd heard about this Hong Kong, very sadly, and what had happened there, my delicious little babies. Well, at first I thought this was, so please do forgive me to anybody who's from Hong Kong. I thought it was some sort of wind-up or AI or something. Do you understand what I mean? So please do forgive me for that. Well, it appears I actually spoke to somebody who comes from Hong Kong, and not in that way. Just happened to talk to somebody. I offered him a prawn fried rat, actually, my delicious babies. And while I was talking to him, I did point out, not to be rude or nothing, no, I was just done saying it, that if you order a fried rye from your average Chinese takeaway, it's literally rice and oil. There we are, that's it. No taste, nothing. Okay? If you order chips, okay, no taste, nothing. Okay, my delicious babies, and I pointed out, mind you, bless him, he never really wanted to comment on that, okay? But he came over to England because they got a choice to go to different countries, and he chose, and his dear little wife, and he's got like little bands, you know what I mean? And they chose to come to England. I said, "Do you like it here?" He says, "Yes, but but the fact of the matter is, it's like anybody who comes from one country to another to live. In reality, you ask anybody, they prefer to go back home. I do genuinely not believe that anybody would really want to leave their country. I've been done saying this. There we are for decades, mad little babies anyway. But what he was saying was, it is true, but it's something to do with there wasn't the is it the safety to what he believes it was. There wasn't the safety, like where no fire resistant. Okay, so there was none of that, and that's what caused it, mad little babies. And I heard from, like I've just said, somebody bless who is from Hong Kong. Okay, mad little baby. Anyway, very pleasant. Dear man, bless him. Not in that way, not in that way. Had a good old convo, and I says, "You're more than welcome to have a prawn for our wrap." I said, because I use, there we are, proper ingredients. He said to me, I think he was rather shocked. He said to me, he says, "You like, I said, "Of course." I said, "I love curries, Indian curries. I love, Chinese food. I love many things. I mean, of course, my very first and foremost, I never needed to stumble there, is your English proper roast, but I do not eat meat. I eat fish and that. You know what I mean? I can still make my own gravy. You just need a few stock cubes and some corn flour, a bit of salt, bit of pepper, job done. Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. So you can make your own gravy. Okay, mardish babies, whether that's with veg stock cubes or whether it's with chicken or beef or, pork or, your choice really. So that would come first, but I love Jamaican food. I love Greek food. I love Spanish food. I love, do you know what I mean? I love Italian food. I'm sort of like an all rounder, really, my babies. I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm a fussy Tessie. A fussy Tessie. And the reason was because we was brought up. There we are, very differently. We were brought up. There we are, very strict. So if I never ate my meal on the day that it was served to me, it would be put aside for the next day. There we are. Well, I soon learnt to eat it very quickly. Mardish look babies, do you know what I mean? Anyway, so the poor Hong Kong, bless them, are not very keen on what they do. They put the poor little chickens, in the, I'm certainly cannot stand anything like that, mardish little babies, and they just pull the chicken, anyway, I just don't want to see anything like that, mardish little babies, okay? It disturbs my noddle, okay, mardish little babies, anyway. But bless the Hong Kong. Very interesting when they said that the numbers, was it 120? Please do not quote me, I'm just trying to remember. 128, was it killed or injured? Well, it comes to 11, doesn't it? 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. You have to look at the numbers, mardish little babies, anyway. But bless dear Hong Kong for what's happened. But I do not like anything like that with our beautiful little animals. No, I make my feelings, there we are, very known on my videos. There we are, very known. Now then, my delicious little babies, the final one. And I feel that this is really, really jowls, there we are, with what's going on today. Now, I've listened to, oh, bless him, our dear, there we are, Jordan Maxwell. There we are, for many years now. Okay, my delicious babies, yes, I have. Okay, my delicious babies. And this uploader happens to have 113,000 subscribers, my delicious babies, on old YouTube. And, oh, hold on. Oh, that's it. And the uploader, my delicious babies, not in that way, not in that way, okay? It's a capital B, best, space, of, space, capital J, Jordan, space, capital M, Maxwell. Okay, my delicious babies, that's the uploader. So it should read, once tapped into the old space bar, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, my delicious babies, best of Jordan Maxwell. Okay, my delicious babies. Now then, Uh, it's just continuous, all the videos to do with dear Jordan, bless him. And I chose this video. Now, this video is a couple of hours long. Anyway, because there's some that are 3-4 hours long, you know what I mean? My delicious babies. And this video should read, what religion didn't want you to know about politics? And then Jordan Maxwell. Okay, my delicious baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you. What religion didn't want you to know about politics? Jordan Maxwell. Now then, my delicious babies. Oh, sorry, 3, 2, 1. My juice little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yeah, I'm a bit like putting my lights on, aren't I, my delicious babies? So let's close our book. Let's go back to where we need to go back to. And let's discuss. So, yes, my delicious babies. So, what is it that I want to say here? So, I'll put that to the left. There's more room there. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, with Jordan Maxwell, he's just like our lovely, not in that way, our lovely dear David Icke, okay? So our lovely dear Jordan Maxwell, who very sadly is no longer with us. Now, I'm not talking to any of our delicious little babies out there who already know who Jordan Maxwell is. I'm talking to any of our delicious little babies who happen to stumble across my channel, which these days is most unlikely, but I will still mention. For those delicious little babies who have not heard of Jordan Maxwell. Well, extremely intelligent gentlemen, both of them. And what's interesting, this, isn't it, my delicious little babies? Because, like I said, I've listened to dear Jordan for years, okay, on and off, okay? But I found myself listening to some of his videos in the past few days. And anyway, and he happens to talk about Kirk, that I call Cork. Yeah, all to do with the church, isn't it, my delicious babies, anyway? So the fact of the matter is this. He breaks things down, dear Jordan Maxwell, bless him, just like our dear David Art, bless him, you know what I mean? Breaks everything down, there we are, so that it is easy to understand, as these dear gentlemen, there we are, have done, okay, all of their research. Do you see what I mean, okay? So this is well worth a listen to this video, my delicious little babies. Now, very lastly, I was listening to on YouTube, my delicious little babies, lovely UK column, but this is called Banter. So it's the latest video, my delicious little babies. It's Banter, and it's and by the way, I wanted to mention as well our lovely not in that way, our lovely Patrick as well, who goes on UK column as well. So when I was mentioning everybody else a couple of days ago, I'm very sorry, dear Patrick, because he's a lovely dear gentleman. And of course, dear Debbie, who I have mentioned, who was around, with the older COVID, you know what I mean? Mad babies, but she's got her own little channel now, 1.62 thousand subscribers. What is it, age-wise? Anyway, I have mentioned, you just need to listen to my videos a couple of days ago, should anybody be interested, okay? But she gives out really, there we are, banging information as well, my delicious little babies, bless her, like I say, with anybody not in that way. But I was listening, and so with dear Mike, dear Charles, and dear Germ, okay? And I enjoy listening to their weekly. It's really good, Matt. I enjoy listening to the UK. Anybody who I advertise, I enjoy listening to, my delicious babies anyway. And including our dear Mag, Bitter Truth, Next Level. On YouTube, my delicious babies is up to 14.5 thousand subscribers, so we need to get his numbers up as well. My delicious babies is extremely good as well. There we are, damn well calling things out now. Do you know what I mean? Okay, he's banging. Not in that way. Anyway, getting back to this matter in hand. So I was listening yesterday evening, and what they were going on about, what they were talking about, their conversation, my delicious babies. You see, they're receiving comments, for some, not all, talking about the UK column has gone pro-China. Okay, my delicious babies. Well, for myself, whenever I have personally spoken about the Chinese, I have never meant it about the actual Chinese, because my heart to heart goes out to them all, how they have been enslaved and driven for all these decades, Matt. There we are, Matt. I'm talking about the putrid effing leaders now, then, isn't it? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, Matt, babies. But Mike, bless him, he made a banging point, banging point. Okay, and I just said, because that's all what I already had in my noddle. All of these who are, commenting on our dear UK column, well, they really need to have a checkup from the neck up for the ones who do this. And why am I saying this? Because if you look at the clothes that we're wearing, okay, well, I mean, this is from River Island, but where's this from? I can't see my tag now. I think, is it India or Indonesia? It's something like this now then. So it doesn't matter where you buy something from, okay, my delicious babies. The fact of the matter is, well, it does matter. Everything matters, so I do not mean it that way. And my heart goes out to, all in different countries, Bangladesh and everywhere, India, everywhere, okay, who have to make these clothes and everything to serve all of us, my delicious little babies, okay, in the West. But Mike was banging correct, and it's only what was in my noddle anyway. Ding, ding, dong, dong. There we are, common sense. The same ones who are talking about pro-China, okay, are the same ones who have got iPhones, dog and bones, clothes, shoes, handbags, everything, look baby. So I just feel that they need to check the damn selves who send comments, okay, because they need to be understanding now. At one time, if you go back decades and decades ago, we used to make in our own country, in England, Mardlish little babies. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, I'm not shouting at you, Mardlish babies. I'm just making a point here. And of course, bit by bit, all the business got taken to other countries now. And what was it all for? Slave labour and ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. That's what it was all about, Mardlish babies. So yeah, I do not blame, bless them, UK Colin, bless them, for feeling the way that they do. Because these ones, when they're putting comments, they're not quite getting, there we are, the whole picture. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they wouldn't even be done doing it. Do you see what I'm saying, Martinish babies? But I love listening to all my different uploaders, Martinish babies. Anyway, and there is one last one as well. So if you want to go on capital T, the space, capital C, China, space, capital S, show. They're now up to 375,000 subscribers, my delicious babies. That's what they're now up to, okay? On YouTube, my delicious babies. And they are also talking about Hong Kong and, and they found out what it's about as well, okay? As well as other things, like these things that they're getting the elderly to do, to all sit round and put on these, to sort of steam your eyes, meant to be some sort of health thing. I just thought the whole lot was, there we are, rather odd, actually. My delicious babies. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. So anyway, and I have noticed, my delicious babies, one last thing, that we receiving the flyers, the leaflets, do you want to sell your home, and then rent it back from us? So they're doing the rounds again, my delicious little babies. We need to really keep on the ball here. Oh, and one last one. On YouTube, my delicious little babies. So I do, advertise it. I do it in a certain way, my delicious little babies. Neil, capital N, Neil, space, McCoy, capital M, and then space Ward, capital D. Sorry, I never needed to stumble there, okay? He's talking about the latest, and that's only hours old, that video now. And he's talking about the latest. It's well in everybody's birth race now. The question is, how many are really going to pay attention, okay? Because the poxy box in the corner of the room will not tell the truth to give anybody a chance to get themselves organised, okay? There we are. This is all by design. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? That's why I said what one should do is throw the effing television out the effing window, man. Or get rid of it. There we are. Just get rid of it. You know what I mean? I mean, okay, if one's watch films, fair enough or whatever, but they should well avoid any news, anything like that. Because all they're doing on there now then is just bullshitting. There we are. It's just bullshitting everybody. You know what I mean? Martish babies. It's not helping anybody at all. Anyway, so that's my video. So thank you so very much for any views, for any likes, and for the most occasional comments. Yes, okay? And sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves, your beautiful little families all be fully protected, okay? And whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies, yeah. So I've got rid of lights off. So I've got rid of all my because I do not celebrate the crimbo mards and babies, okay? I've known a long time. And I've said for a long time that at the end of the day that, you know, it's all very commercialised, you know, and Dear UK column, the banter, we're talking, Mike and Charles and Germ, they were talking about this as well yesterday evening, but I've been saying this for decades, you know, what they have been doing to, you know, it's like it's all about expense. It's all commercialised. I've said it for how long? Whatever o'clock. Do you know what I mean? Mad delicious babies. And it's not really getting to the true meaning, but for myself and there's thousands of others, there we are, who do know the true meaning. Mad delicious babies, and it's not very nice, you know. Anyway, but, you know, I do understand that ones want to enjoy their crimbo, you know what I mean? I do get that. But it's more for little bairns, isn't it? It's more for little babies, really. Do you know what I mean? Okay? Bless them, you know, and they all want to wake up on the crimbo day and, you know, open their gifts and everything, and, you know, bless the beautiful dear little souls, but they're only little, so they know no difference, you know what I mean? Mad little babies anyway. But of course, if we look at a lot of families, you know, as much as there are there's thousands who know about this, there are also millions who do not know the true meaning, you know, so it's not me being a party pooper, but anyway, so I've got rid of, you know, because over the years I've got rid of, you know, my decorations, you know. I do not mean that in the wrong way. What I mean is for them to go to lovely homes. Do you see what I mean? And the owners of their homes, there we are, that they are going to most appreciate. Do you know what I mean? That the trimmings and everything. So yeah, so I put a box out a couple of nights ago, and you know, cleaned all the box and everything, and you know, and it's whatever I had left, you know, which were very beautiful actually, you know, because I did different colours over the years. Do you understand what I mean, Martin? Anyway, so that was what was left, you know. So I put them outside, and I did a little sprinkle some, not physically, I did it, you know, in an angelic way, spiritually. And I wrote on the box, my delicious little babies, that I put free to a good home. What else was it I put? And I put, you know, and I smiled because I sent it with love, and I said, you know, not in that way, not in that way. And I sent, you know, whoever, words to effect, whoever takes these Christmas trimmings, you know, may you be blessed forever, and much love to all. And that's what I put. And then so I put it out on the evening, okay, and all the baubles, everything was clean. And then I said by either tonight, I said, or this morning, I said I would like these, you know, these trimmings, decorations to be taken by somebody. I said somebody who, you know, really needs them. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, okay. But I did such a beautiful there we are, such a beautiful blessing. You know, then I just did my sprinkle my little fairy dust, not physically. I did it from my angelic self. Do you understand what I mean, Martish babes? I know that some would probably say to themselves, you know, well, she's just a bitch half the time. You know what I mean, Martish babes? Well, the fact of the matter is, I'm only a bitch when I feel it's necessary. But so I will admit to that. I can be a bitch. But I can also be, there we are, an exceptionally nice woman. There we are, to know, not in that way, not in that way. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. And I will help, there we are, anybody. Okay. So whoever's received, I want them to have all the beauty and laugh, all of the beautiful blessings that life can bring to them, you see? And that is when I put it out. So what am I saying to you just to finish my video? I sent it with love. There we are. That is what I did. Okay. So no more decorations, no more. I've just given them out bit by bit. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies. So there's no more now. All gone, all gone. Again, my delicious little babies. So you just take care now, okay? So very much love to you all. Thank you, like I say, once again for listening to any of my videos. Okay, I'm not even sure if this one will upload. I don't know. As YouTube has threatened to remove my channel altogether. Do you understand what I mean? Martish babies will have obviously, there we are, hit a raw nerve somewhere having a Martish babies, okay? And please do not forget, one more, to listen to David Mahoney on YouTube, Martish Babies. I have advertised him before, okay? I'm glad that I found him again, not in that way, but I'm so glad I found him again. He's doing some brilliant videos, absolutely. I love listening to his videos, not in that way, but he had a lovely dear woman. They were talking on the video this morning that he'd uploaded. Oh, bless. And I felt so sad. Because it was a lovely video talking about different things, but when she said towards the end she'd lost her husband, bless. So she lost him 5 years ago, and they're only young, probably about 50, I'd say, and it's just so sad. She lost the love of her life. I felt really sad for her, I really, really did, and so did David, it was having a talk. And David felt really sad. I just felt really sad. And you find that one. Well, I never have. I will. But, the point is, when you find that one that you absolutely adore them and they absolutely adore you. Do you know what I mean? It's like they put you on a pedestal, you put them on a pedestal. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. You're truly loved, you're truly respected, there we are, and you're truly valued, okay? And that is what this poor dear woman, Danny, she had with her dear self, with her dear husband. Oh, and he had a heart attack and passed. Oh, it was so sad. And, she was sort of getting a bit teary, towards the end. Oh, what a shame for dear Danny, you know what I mean? But that must be so heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. My beautiful dear little, how I love my beautiful dear little nanny and granddad. So my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, yeah, nearly 41 years. They would have still been married if my beautiful dear little granddad, they just adored each other. Absolutely adored each other. There we are. And my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, she was never the same. And none of us were ever the same, ever. And because my beautiful dear little Nana and granddad, they were like the top in the, you know what I mean, in the family. Do you understand what I mean? It's what kept the gelling together. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes. But my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, what was it, 33 years? She stayed on her own. She would never, ever, she said she refused to meet anybody else. She didn't want to. She says nobody was like her granddad. Never. She said never, ever, ever. She said no other gentleman will ever step over my doorstep. And never ever did. Because that's when you love somebody, there we are, truly to your heart. There we are. And she genuinely did, yeah. And I personally do not believe, with my beautiful dear little Nana and granddad, that if it was the other way around, I genuinely do not believe that, my beautiful dear Nana, beautiful, sorry, never need to stumble there, my beautiful dear granddad, that he would have ever wanted anybody else, because the love that they had for one another, there we are, was just so beautiful, honest, true, there we are, and pure. Do you see what I mean? There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? But now they're together. Oh, bless. I love them. I love them so. You know what I mean? But yeah. So it is just so sad. Do you understand what I mean? Because, especially when you're younger, bless anybody's heart who loses, their husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, when they're young. Because it's... Because for some, they remarry and they meet somebody else. Well, each to their own. Me personally, I never would. Never. No. If I was with my beautiful dear husband, you know what I mean? No, I never ever would. No, it's not for myself. You know what I mean? Because you can never ever get back. This is just me personally. I'm speaking for myself. Because you can never ever get back what you had with your Mr. or Mrs. Beautiful. Because you never want to find it in somebody else, because somebody else would be completely different, wouldn't they? There we are. So that's how I see it, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but bless her heart. And bless anybody else's heart who's very sadly gone through that. Anyway, so that's the end of my video, my delicious babies. How I love you all so. You just look after now. Look after yourselves, and please try to look after others. Okay, remember the amber. Okay, lots of love. Goodbye.